In the story of God, we see movements of life and death and resurrection. And to see God at work is to recognize all of these movements. In a cloud forest in Costa Rica, we gathered together at Casa Nube, seeking to explore these moves of God, both past and present, in our communities and our unique contexts, as we also dream about new forms of life. We began by telling the stories of our ecclesial experiences, or sharing a bit about our relationship with the church. And then collectively, we wove a tapestry with threads of different colors, plastic, branches, and flowers, representing different pieces of our stories. These pieces being laments and points of pain, as well as our moments of joy and thanksgiving. As we recognize what has been, or what we currently know to be church, we also began to dream and imagine these new forms of being an embodied church. So we practiced this quite literally, moving our bodies and working together to create expressions of a church that embodies justice, welcome, support, and connectedness. New life always springs up from a seed that falls from a tree. So we also sat together under the shade of some trees, these trees being communities of faith that have long been faithful presences of love and justice in the communities in which they are planted. We gathered the fruits of their wisdom as we asked ourselves, what do we find ourselves challenged by in the example of these communities? What are we inspired by? These communities know how to live lives of fullness and abundance and celebration. So we practice this together, remembering that this God sustains us in the journey as we walk alongside one another in places of brokenness, injustice, and suffering. We spoke to these realities through song and poetry. We laughed, we danced, we did Tai Chi, we shared artwork, we sat around the table and we shared meals together. And we also sang in unison. Each of these things helped to carve out space for our dreams, these new seeds, to find space to take root within each of us. And we also recognize that trees don't just grow on their own. They require the faithful tending to, not just by one, but by many, of a collective, of a community. So, for this next year, we have committed to walking together as we cultivate and tend to these dreams of new forms of church that are beginning to spring up. But we also remember our connection to the church that has stood throughout time as a light in the darkest of places. We remembered our communion with the body of Christ, with plantains and with natia, representing the fruits of the land here in Central America, and recognizing the importance of a church that is incarnational and rooted in its particular context. This is the story of God being written. In spaces all around us, there is new life springing up. Will we let ourselves move with it?